there are a lot of questions about the so-called bad houses in astrology, and it seems like you need some answers. But you didn't hear this from us because astrology said so.
Ooh.
I'm Jenny D.
And I'm Camille, otherwise known as Cosmic Cannibal. I'm really excited today to talk about the sixth house. You're probably familiar with it. It is the house of routine. It's the house of health and wellness. It's the house of like to-do lists, but it's also the house of so much more.
It is. There is everything to do from pets to how people respect you and to how you respect other people.
I want to talk about the sixth house being a cadent house, right? It follows the self-expression and the self sort of satisfaction of the fifth house. And that precedes those cooperative endeavors of the seventh house. So it's like, that's where we get, I think, a lot of that association with work and service, because the sixth house is where you take your creative talents, put them to use, and then you tag them into this community endeavor that you're doing. Like, I have Capricorn in the sixth house, so I'm always thinking about work. I look at the sixth house through that lens of like productivity, efficiency. What can I get done? How do I compartmentalize my day? How do I organize things? So I often describe it, the sixth house, as the house of work, service, daily routines, daily grind. If you're like a self-employed person, you're an entrepreneur, it really is that house of the ordinary needs of each day. That's where it's like, oh, the to-do list, like these ordinary, mundane tasks that help you achieve the aims of your, big career, which is in your 10th house. And then if you work for a company or you work in an office, it's the house of that office space, the work environment. I mean, that's true even if you work for yourself. It's like the sixth house is, how do I get work done? How do I be of service? How do I be productive? And it's the work you do day in, day out to be of service to something. It's the type of worker you are, the type of work environment you would probably feel most effective and productive in, and how you also, like we mentioned, approach health and wellness. So it's that interplay between your body, your mind, your nervous system. And that's what I got.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. For me, the sixth house has a lot to do with like what people are good at. Mm-hmm. What are you good at? It's a skill set, which is very funny because I do have a sixth house Pisces stellium. Mm-hmm. And so I'm good at sleeping. I'm very good for a nap. I can't wait to take a nap, but it's like, it's very maintenance-y.
Yeah.
It's maintenance of our physical body. I see the sixth house as the most physical of all the houses, even though you have the first house, which actually is, our physical self. Mm-hmm. This is as the world as we interact with it. What do we have to fix? What do we have to leave alone? There's a lot to do with things like discipline. Whenever I talk about the sixth house, I always think about the Virgins of Vesta, where they had to tend the fires of Rome to make sure that the spirit of Rome didn't go out. It was their entire job to just make sure that those fires were kept burning. So it's this responsibility that you have to take very seriously. I see a lot of religion and piety in this house too. It's a lot of, I didn't do that. You did that. That was your responsibility. Even if I know that I was supposed to do it, that was on you. So that's where that can come in. And that's why it also has to do with how you respect other people. How do you take accountability for things? How do others interact with you as you take accountability for them?
I love that. Like, I had some other little bullet points, and you hit on a lot of them, like skills, craftsmanship. We can find, like, if you look at it from a creative standpoint, hey, I'm a creative person, which we all are, but like, I want to do this creative thing for a living. The sixth house is where you are honing that craft, where you're putting in reps, how you go about putting in those reps.
I totally agree with you.
like how to approach that. And then I want to also talk about just briefly on the religious side of it, because I think it is tied to rituals and discipline. And we can even go as far as saying discipleship. And that also is like, it has its connection to service, because if you really think of like work, when you're serving something, when you're like, hey, how can I serve the world, or how can I be of service to others? That can be a form of spiritual discipleship, because you're not like trying to necessarily monetize anything from it, but you're saying, I have these talents and I want to put them to use in a way that helps other people and serves other people. And for me, it feels holy. It feels like, sacred or sanctified in that regard.
I think that I want to say that it was a Batman quote, because of course it would be. I want to say it was Alfred that said it. And I don't remember which movie, but the connotation basically was there's a lot of nobility in service. And there is. If you are a server at a restaurant, you know that better than anyone else. If you've worked in hospitality, which I have, a lot. Sixth house stellium.
I was going to say,
yeah. Sixth house stellium, making dreams come true for other people. It's very sixth housey. There's also, when you were talking about repetition, there's repetition, but there is a purpose to it, and it is to refine and to make sure that we are improving and getting better the more and more we do it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I love that, because I have, like I said, I have Capricorn in my sixth house, and I don't know, do we count the nodes as part of the stellium?
You can. I think so. They're pretty important.
We have a stellium in this house. I have 3 placements there. But that is absolutely like, I approach my to-dos like a business. Like, when I learned the bass, it was like, that was my job. This is where I showed up and I put in the reps to master this instrument. And I really love that interpretation of it, where we're putting in the reps to be of service to it. And I have noticed that people who have, you just pointed it out, but people who have prominent sixth house places, like your sun, like I have, outer planets. So it's like, okay. But you have like personal planets in this house. And so there is this emphasis on working in hospitality or working in the service industry at some point.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier for people with placements there to deal with that. Because there's a lot it's kind of the house of, like,
it can be tough. You have to have good boundaries if you're going to sixth house stuff. Yeah. The way that if you read tarot, it's very 8 of Pentacles, very apprenticeship, and how we are interacting with what we have to do. It's the things no one likes to do, but we have to do. We have to get up and brush our teeth. We have to take a shower. That's all sixth house stuff. The things that you are responsible for, and the things that you have to be accountable for, and the things that you need to dedicate yourself to. That's all sixth house stuff.
Okay, Dane Rudhyar, he calls it the house of personal readjustment. And it feels like the sixth house feels so self-help. It's that where we're always trying to better ourselves, and we're looking for ways to, improve our daily function, improve the function of our body. We take care of our teeth. We make the medical appointments. We get the blood work. We, like these things that we're, like you said, that you are taking responsibility for the sort of machinery of your physical form, and also the machinery of your business or your creative life or whatever.
It's interesting that you say that too, because as part of self-help, that is also pets. And that is emotional support, your emotional support animals.
Right.
So that actually connects in a really nice way, because back in the day, this was the house of slaves. We've tried to update that and say that this is now subordinates. These are employees or anyone that's under you that would have to look up to you and respect you. And so of course your pets are going to look up to you. You have to take care of them.
Right.
They would be farm animals or small farm animals back in the day. The larger ones were more 12th house. But these were chickens and, your dog for hunting and things like that. Here, I think that there's a lot more in 2026. I think there's a lot more camaraderie with our pets. I think we baby them a lot more, but babies can also be sixth house things. You were saying that in the fifth house is our creativity. The sixth house is really where we put the rubber to the road.
Yeah.
And decide that this is the work that we're going to put into. And then by the time we get to the seventh house, we're sharing our work with the world.
Yeah. And that's how we sort of integrate ourselves with those other people in the world. And we're
exactly
that work in the sixth house. And we're like, okay, this is my, daily toil. And I love that you brought up that it used to be, or at least, it's like the house of slavery. It's the house of the subordinates. It's the house of rituals. And it can be the house of, I don't want to say abuse in that way that's like, if you have placements here, you get abused. But I think it's like, we can be taken advantage of with prominent placements in the sixth house because we feel that we are obligated to do that work. And it's like, well, I'm just, I can take this from the higher ups. And like you said, it's really important to have boundaries with the sixth house.
It's very much about what can I contribute? What am I contributing? And then, for someone like me who has that sixth house stellium that is ruled by a planet in your first house, you are consistently pulling at that to say, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And chances are, yes, you are. You're probably doing way too much if you have a placement like that, and you have to learn how to tone it back.
I think
this is where burnout comes in, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, burnout is also the sixth house. Like if you are burnt out, you want to look at what's going on, what sign rules your sixth house, and what planetary ruler is going on there. So I think that's a good segue to sort of that portion of this. Just speaking to your sixth house stellium, I think when there are water signs in the sixth house, there is definitely, and Pisces in particular, there is that danger of porousness, of being so absorbent of the environment around you, and literally, like, that's like empathic work. If we're looking at the type of work that you do as the sixth house, it's like, okay, well, I can feel the feelings of others, or I can intuit the feelings of others, or I can take on the feelings of others. And that's where boundaries become so important, because you have 100%. To know when your feelings stop and other people's feelings begin, and how much you are able to take on. I think Pisces and Cancer in particular have that tendency to like give. Cancer thinks if I give more than I will definitely receive. And that's not always how it works.
Right.
And Pisces is the same way, but you would be able to speak to that experience better than me.
It's being a Libra rising and having Pisces in the sixth is a bananas experience, because I don't understand how people couldn't notice things. There is an empathic quality to it. There are other people that would call it straight out psychic. And for me personally, I reject that, because it's like, I took noticing in high school. I can just see if someone needs something, and I have to understand that this is not mine.
Right.
This is not mine to deal with.
But like, I love what you bring up there, because it's like, okay, yeah, there's the empathy element of it, and we can look at it as having an intuition and stuff, but it's also like, let's look at it at work. You're the person who's like, oh, I see that this needs to be done, and I'll do it. Like it is that awareness and that notion that this needs to happen, or I can see that something is happening and I feel compelled to kind of step in and do that.
I think awareness is a really good word for it.
Yeah.
It's a heightened awareness of what's going on around you.
I guess we can talk about earth signs in
Mm.
the sixth house now. I know with Capricorn there, for me, I like to be in charge. And like I said, I like to, I approach whatever it is that I'm doing, if it's wellness, if it's learning something new, if it's, doing my business as a business. I'm like, I got to get it structure. I'm going to pencil in time to put in those recs. And I have to do it in a tangible way. I see the work and I'm willing to put in that work and to show up for it. And I think that's what those earth signs all have in common. It's that tangibility factor. It's like, okay, let's roll up our sleeves. Virgo.
Yeah, it's endurance.
Oh, yeah. Virgo is going to be very comfortable in the sixth house because it's the natural sign of that house.
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn is like, you need that organization. I just need it. I need the structure. And I think we both have that in common, where it's like, okay, we really need to know what we're doing day to day. But you bring more of that with this because
I can help.
Yeah,
I'm a helper.
So what thoughts on like the I'm thinking like every time I've worked someplace, it's like I always have to be in charge of something. My mom used to call me boss. It's like nobody wanted to work with me as a kid because it was just like, okay. But I also, Leo rising, we want to show up and lead.
I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Who's in charge here? Me. It's me.
Me.
I know I just got here, but it's me.
It's me. And I think about like going back to water signs in the sixth house. My partner has Scorpio in the sixth house. And boy, does he love to sink his teeth into the work. Like he needs something that he can just go into, and it takes a lot out of him. Like it's like, okay, this requires a lot of emotional investment. Mm-hmm. This requires some physical work. Like he's worked in production for 20 years. And that is a very like physically, tough, mentally tough, creative challenge. But that's where he thrives. And I think any fixed sign in the sixth house is going to be like, okay, let me really get this organized. Give me this one thing that I can just work on again and again and again.
It can also be detrimental for fixed signs though, because fixed signs don't know when to put things down. That's mutable sign. Mutables know when to say, okay, we're done here. Fixed signs don't want to, no, I can still work this out. I can still figure out this problem. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when a fixed sign becomes involved with something like that, it can be very, very difficult to separate. And this is also coming down to things like relationships. And because relationships can be projects, especially to a fixed sign. It can also be, not just day-to-day work, but cleaning a garage or, and we can do that to avoid things. So be very careful in the sixth house.
Okay, what about fire signs?
Fire signs,
they definitely need a mission. I think like they need something that feels meaningful. The type of work that's like, it's going to involve some self-expression, some leadership to an extent, but I think it needs to really be meaningful to them. The work that they do is like, okay, this is like lighting me up.
Yeah. And I think there also is, with fire signs specifically, there has to be maybe earth signs to some degree, but I think definitely with fire signs, there has to be a measurement of success. They have to have a little like, okay, we did a little bit better than we did yesterday. And we are able to see that in an XYZ number.
Right. Yeah. And they can get like a gold star.
Yeah. Even if that gold star is just kind of like, okay, if there's like a round of applause or a gold star or a sticker or anything like that, it can be very minimal.
Yeah.
But it's still very, very important.
Yeah. And something that they can feel that they invest kind of their heart in, the type of work that like, okay, this, maybe it puts them front and center. Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't always have to. But if it is creative, if it involves some sort of, adventure in a way, like some sort of risk, a little bit of like daring type of thing. I've been doing a lot of chart readings for Scorpio risings, and they have Aries in the 6th house. And, it's like
very competitive.
Yeah. There's got to be something that they are like pioneering, they are in charge of, they are the ones who get to steer the ship on. And it needs to be like fighting for an underdog or fighting for some cause or something that's like, this is doing something for the world, however big or small we want to define world, for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's similar to Sagittarius. To Sagittarius, though, it's definitely like, I need to move. I need to travel. I need to change the scenery. I need to be tasked with different things. Like, I cannot just do the same thing every day in the same exact place. You need that variety. And fire signs in the 6th house definitely need to move their bodies to get that heat out. Otherwise, that is like true burnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have to not get too mad at the work that you're doing, but you need to like release that heat somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And
I totally agree.
I think that's kind of similar for air signs, but it's more up here, that nervousness.
Yeah.
Chatter.
I feel like if you have Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius in your 6th house, you are automatically going to have some kind of nervous system issue. There's just like, there's so much, talking about, taking noticing in high school. There's an overview where, Aquarius is very observant.
Mm-hmm.
Libra is observant, but in a different way because it wants everything to be nice and aesthetically pleasing and harmonious, and
right.
Everyone just smooth everything over and where are the rough edges. And then with Gemini, it inhales the information that is given to it and then it blurts it out somewhere else, which is great.
Right.
But there can be a publisher type of sense to that.
Mm-hmm.
Where, very media like, but it's more, I feel like it's more crafty than it is with the fire signs, where it has to, like, we have to think through it before we're able to commit to anything. Fire signs are just much more like, okay, let's do this. Let's just jump in and we'll figure out where it goes as we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And then the air signs, like I think of, Capricorn risings have, they have Gemini 6th house. So it's, the work that you do day in, day out to build your legacy or build your business or build your brand, which every Capricorn rising pretty much wants to do, is going to involve writing, talking, interviewing people, calling people. Like, that's how you get your stuff going. It's through that media oriented stuff where you're making videos or you're doing something that's talking and using your hands. And I think, like, Aquarius, it's very, very system oriented. It's like, give an Aquarius 6th house, which is going to be a Virgo rising, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give them a system to break apart and put back together. Like, give them some problems to solve. Give them some things that are very abstract and very difficult for other people to kind of maneuver around in their heads, and they're gonna excel because it's doing that sort of like mental puzzles and like, well, how would this work? And moving things around. It's like any job where you're gonna do some sort of mental Tetris, I think, is gonna be wonderful for Aquarius in the 6th house. And then Libra,
it's really
like Libra. I think if you have Libra in the 6th house, you're probably the person everybody at the office goes to be like, what are your thoughts on this? You're always so level-headed.
Yeah.
Tell me your opinion,
Very measured.
Yes. And they're like probably the office mediator, or you do that as part of your job, like part of if you're self-employed or whatever.
Going back to what you were saying about Gemini and Capricorn rising, my husband actually happens to be a Capricorn rising. and he went to school for journalism, but he is a manager of transportation.
Yes.
So he's on the move. He never does, his day never looks exactly the same. He's either in the office, he's talking to people, he's talking to the vendors that he's dealing with. He's got it's always busy, but it's talking, it's moving, it's floating from one thing to another. It's very changeable.
I love it too because it's like he's a Capricorn rising. So he's the manager of the stuff that's always moving and people are coming in and out, and it deals with transportation, which is very much a Gemini thing.
Yeah. Cars, mobility.
Yeah.
Getting from one place to another. Where are the keys? Where is this person?
Right.
Yeah, there's always stuff going on.
Oh, I love that. I love when it lands just so like poetically, you know, when the astrology just shows up that way.
And it's funny too, because the ruler of his sixth is in a fire sign in his fourth. So it's very like rapid fire, lots of moving around.
Right. And and it feels good for him. Like, it's like, I like this kind of work. I find it fulfilling because, and that's the thing. So it doesn't mean that like when your sixth house is this way, that's the job that you're doing and you're happy with it and all that stuff. You know, that's the importance of looking at the planetary rulers in your chart is it gives you that bigger picture into what you're going to find more fulfilling.
Right.
It doesn't like give you okay, just because you have Gemini in the sixth house means that you're working in that thing. It means that if you're unhappy with the work that you do, maybe you want to look to something that has those Gemini elements to it. That they like the job, day in, daily responsibilities require movement and flexibility and talking to people and connecting with people. And, you know,
the way that I look at it when we talk about rulership is kind of like the house is where the inspiration is, and then it's focused wherever the ruler is. So it's almost kind of like, this is where we started, this is how it's going. You know, it comes into kind of like a laser focus in the area of the chart. Like you can be very inspired by the sixth. If you know, you can be inspired by literature or filmmaking, but are you actually going to do it? Well, it depends on where your sixth house ruler lives.
Right.
If your sixth house ruler lives in the first house, you might. If it lives in the 10th house, you might. If your sixth house ruler lives in the 12th or the 8th, you might feel held back. When you're looking at the planets that are in the sixth, you want to take into consideration how they are developing in the 3D, because like I said, this, in my opinion, is the most three-dimensional house in the entire chart. Even more so that, well, I don't want to say more so than the ascendant, but more so than the ascendant. It's very
astrology.
Yeah, I didn't say it. Astrology said it. You didn't hear it from me. But it is very tangible. It's very physical.
Right.
But you know, with your identity, if you have the sun in the sixth house, your identity becomes being a helper or being helpful or being of use. If you have Venus, you will be of service in your relationships with other people or at work. Mars, motivation will be very much attached to how can I be useful?
Yeah.
What can I do that will help others? And the motivation behind your actions comes from wanting to be useful.
I can say for me, I have Uranus and Neptune in the sixth house. And from a health and wellness perspective and routine, like Uranus there, it's like I need the routine of Capricorn, but I'm also like, I need an unusual routine. Like I can't work a 9-to-5 job because I deal with nervous system disorder. I have chronic fatigue thanks to Neptune. You know, like there are things there that I dealt with a lot more in my early 20s of like an undiagnosable chronic illness, and this sort of like no one could figure it out, no one can name it. And that's that can manifest through the sixth house in that way. It doesn't mean that because you have certain planets there that like automatically that's how it's going to show up. That's just how it showed up for me.
That's very interesting. Because with this Neptune transit, Neptune exiting Pisces, I was having a lot of nebulous health issues.
Yeah.
Things that were obviously wrong, but I could not find answers. And now that Neptune has left Pisces and entered Aries, my doctors are starting to listen to me a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that was something that I noticed, even with Saturn moving into Aries.
Right.
Well, so it's very interesting that you bring that up.
To your point of Saturn is the ruler of my sixth house. And right now Saturn is squaring my Uranus and Neptune. And I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of pro squares. I like them because
I do too.
Going, I don't hate on them. And so I mentioned at the beginning, like, I've been doing a lot of mobility stuff. I've been doing, I've been like, I have an unusual spine. I have scoliosis. I have unusual issues that are related to that. I have chronic pain and I have all this other stuff that I deal with. And Saturn making a square to Uranus and Neptune, but mostly Uranus, it's like, you got to find a unique way to handle this. You got to do something. And I did. And I found this, mobility yoga stuff. And it's like, show up for it. Do it every day. Like Saturn making you urging you to take that seriously.
Yeah.
And when
it's forcing you to get up.
Yeah. When Saturn moved through my sixth house, I started physical therapy for that part of my body. And I was super productive, and I was time management. How do I work? I was working, I was going to school, I was going to physical therapy. I was, there was just a lot of things that I enjoyed. I think the sixth house can be a really enjoyable house when you learn to work with it, how it's showing up in your life and chart. Different people are going to have different experiences of the sixth house. Like, I don't mean to keep belaboring the point, but chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, those can teach you discipline. Those teach you how to show up for your body, how to show up for your needs, and how to create a realistic and tangible, strategy or schedule for yourself.
That's so interesting. Like my sixth house Saturn transit was very different. Mine was much more about go hibernate, go figure out who you are, what you want. There's a lot of mental health stuff that you have to fix.
Right.
So get into that. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm absolutely reaping the rewards of it. But man, it was not an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, and I think that shows the difference in those two signs. Like, it's not saying that Pisces doesn't want to work. It's just that Pisces works in a different way. Pisces need more of those rest periods, the hibernation periods, the periods of like, there is something wrong with me and I need to figure out what it is. And Capricorn, like, I'm just going to work through this. So, I don't want to slow down.
With a Capricorn moon, I can totally understand, like, you just put your head down and you grind through it. But you can do that to your detriment.
Yeah.
You have to know what this comes back to boundaries. And I think the sixth house is really good for lessons like that. If you need to understand what we talked about, burnout, if we are so exhausted, if we are so tired, because part of hygiene is taking care of your sleep, making sure that you sleep well.
Yeah.
This is everything that you have to do to make sure that you are functioning as optimally as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say, we're not talking like productivity or optimization in the, capital sense. We're talking about like
your machine, your biological machine.
Exactly. Like you get a good night's sleep, whatever that is for you. You wake up, you feel rested, you feel ready to take on your day. You're eating the foods and you're drinking the drinks that nourish your particular system.
Yeah.
And you're doing the physical work, the actual employment work that lights you up and you feel most productive doing, and you feel of service to the world.
And I think if you're having a lot of, like, if you have mental health problems, or if you are having health issues, or you're just feeling unhappy or dissatisfied with life, you can find your remediation in the sixth house.
Yeah.
You can find your answers to say, okay, I feel completely off path. I feel like I am not doing what I am supposed to be doing. What should I be doing? Look at the sign in your sixth house. Look if there's any planets in your sixth house and try to answer that. You know, if you have Aries in the sixth house, then find something, figure out a way to gamify something so that you can win.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to be competitive. Play golf with yourself. I challenged myself to do a little bit better. I have all of this pent up aggression and anger. Where can I put it? Find a place for it, because releasing that out of your body is a sixth house remediation. It will allow you to express how you feel through working your body. It's the same thing for
air signs.
Air signs. Yeah. I'm like, for air signs, write, journal.
Talk.
Write down what you see. Walk it out.
Talk therapy. Yeah.
Go to therapy. Therapy's great. Everyone should go.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with earth signs, you know, a way to remediate with earth signs is to get a checklist and just check them off.
Yeah.
Check your things off.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to accomplish stuff, because once, I think that there can also be maybe not a fear of success, but a fear of success where it's like, okay, look at all of this stuff I've done, but I don't want to admit that I've accomplished this for the sake of needing to stay humble or experience humility. No, man, like, get up there and pat yourself on the back. You worked hard. Work hard, play hard.
Yes. Pat yourself on the back for the things that you did. Because I think that's the thing, especially, I would say, with Capricorn and Virgo in the sixth house and Pisces. It's like,
I don't get anything done.
Yeah, I could always be doing more. Like, I'm not doing quite enough. I would say Cancer is probably that way too. Like, it's just like you feel you should be doing more. And it's like, it's okay to acknowledge the work that you've done.
Yeah. And I think, the society that we live in, not to get off on a rant here, but the society and the culture that we live in this country discourages us from celebrating the little things. Sometimes it's good to give yourself a little treat. Sometimes you can say, if I do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to go get my favorite coffee, or I'm going to take the long way home. I'm going to take a walk. Celebrate yourself. No one else is going to do it.
Nope.
No one else is going to celebrate it. So do what you're supposed to do and applaud yourself. Applaud you.
Applaud you.
No, applaud you, because you're the one that has done the work. You're the one that has shown up. And if you hadn't shown up for all of those people that are supposed to respect you in sixth house stuff with you, then they wouldn't have had that. They wouldn't have had the mentorship. And I think that is a really important part of the sixth house that gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like we've talked a lot, longer than we were going to talk about the sixth house, because we had so much to say about it. But I loved this conversation. I'm excited to do 8th house, 12th house. I mean, we're going to town.
We're going to skip around.
Yeah. We're eventually going to do all the houses, but we're going to skip around, because we're going
to skip around
in these houses. I have a 12th house stellium. So next we get to talk about that.
Yeah, we got 8th house on tap. We got 12th house planned. Those will be released coming up in the future. But in the meantime, what do you have going on, Miss Camille?
Well, I'm always making videos on TikTok. So you can follow me on TikTok at Cosmic Cannibal Camille. If you're interested in astrology or you're interested in a laugh, you can follow me on YouTube at Cosmic Cannibal Camille. And I'm Cosmic Cannibal Camille everywhere, but I have more of my comedy on Instagram and YouTube, and astrology is on YouTube as well. And I'm on Substack, obviously.
Love that.
What about you?
What about me? You can find me online anywhere as Jenny, the number 2 hearts, Jenny 2 hearts, across social media. I am astrologyuncensored.substack.com if you want to read more of my astrology offerings. And if you're local to Pittsburgh, you can find me at the Crow's Nest, where I offer regular readings at the end of every month. And we're also doing Astrology Club, getting that kicked back off again. So you can come see me the last Friday of every month, and we're going to have a good time. I hope that you have a terrific rest of your day. And thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time.
If you have any questions about the 6th house, you can drop them in the comments of this post.
Or the 12th or the 8th or anything else.
Yes. Yeah.